Was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to episode 88. And on this episode, we, of course, are going to be talking about LeBron James becoming a billionaire. There's a difference between our value and service value. What are we talking about? 19 Keys talk. We're going to be talking about dreams and funerals and so much more. Moose, how are we feeling about this episode?
Yeah, this one's good, man. This one's good. We are continuing to climb closer to 100, so I'm always going to continue to shout that out. But specifically for this one, if you struggle with identifying how to be more intentional with your walk, you're going to get clarity on how to do that with this episode.
Let's get into this intro.
Two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
And shout out to all our listeners, our viewers, wherever you're watching or listening to this. And I haven't said this for a minute. Leave a review.
Come on.
Leave a review.
Come on, man.
Leave a rating on Spotify. Review on Apple Podcasts and Podchasers. We love you. We appreciate it. All that great stuff. And of course, this is powered by E-Camm Live, people. An all-in-one live streaming and video production. Like everything you see with Nicky and Moose, everything you hear about this podcast is all done between video clips, between the intro, between how we look, is all powered by E-Camm. So shout out to E-Camm. Moose, how are we feeling?
Yeah, feeling pretty good. Just fresh off the road. I've been traveling the last 3 weeks quite a bit. So I'm glad that I was able to change my flight tonight to record from home base. And we'll do a quick trip tomorrow and, just keep it rolling. But other than that, things are good. Things are going really well. I'm grateful for where we're headed. 6 months into the year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
I feel like I haven't talked to you because I was like, I
We
didn't even
talk
know you went to MOG until I saw a video. And I was like,
yeah. No, I text you. Remember I texted you the night before or the day before. And
did you say
I wasn't supposed to go until...
You said that?
Well, yeah, kind of. Because I wasn't...
No, you do that.
Yeah.
You do that all the time. You be like, yeah, so I slid that in there, but I didn't really emphasize on it. I didn't talk about it, but I did tell you in between a long text of what else was important and what we were talking about at the time, and I just made that very casual. That's what you normally do.
Yeah,
Really
I found out later myself. I found out that I was invited. I think Sunday for Thursday. So it's like, oh, why don't you? I was like, okay, fine. I'll do a 1 day thing. So, yeah. I didn't know there was videos.
Yes.
Well, I did see.
Yes,
yeah,
everybody had their phone out. Shout out to MOG, which is Masters of the Game, which is a high-level mastermind on ETA, a.k.a. Eric Thomas side of things. And Moose was teaching. So I was like, oh, somebody
Look
told
at
me
that.
he was teaching.
Look at that.
All right.
Yeah.
So, that's all I'm saying. I just felt like you didn't tell me. And I felt sad. I was like, oh, I gotta feel like I feel like a spectator.
You're coming next week, aren't you?
Huh?
Aren't you coming to Atlanta next week?
For what?
Oh man, we talked about this.
Oh, that was
We talked about going to JO's event.
Y'all having like a live combo with us. Like, I'm like, wait, what? Oh, we did.
On the
We
podcast.
did. We did. We did. Okay. But we'll talk about that. Anyway.
We'll catch up. We'll catch up.
As far as for me, for those who are viewers, you can see the new background.
Come on.
People, this is all I'm going to say. I probably lost like 3 pounds today. Okay. Probably lost 3 pounds because it's a lot. I ordered 27 cases of these things in the background, and this is only half of them. And so, this is the problem of trying to be creative and make things look different because you get bored. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get into this episode. You know what I mean? Let's get into this episode before I get mad
Get to the work.
You know what I mean? So, something triggered in me. Y'all know we normally start now the podcast about things that are triggering to me, inspiring me, creating thought process and all that great stuff. So I was watching The Pivot, of course, and they had Omari Hardwick. For those people who don't know who that is, you probably seen Power and you probably know him as Ghost, right? So he said something that made me, I'm going to let you listen to it first, but it triggered my mind of like, maybe we're in certain situations, whether it's a job, whether it's a task that just is as acceptable and isn't necessarily allowing us to be as weird or strange that we honestly are. And when we're in those vibes, that's when greatness happens. But listen to it yourself.
People get to, the Tigers and the Michaels and the Kobes. I just told her, I said, they almost go sociopathic. So I'm aware that I'm off.
Yeah.
I'm aware. I know why we respect firefighters.
Yeah.
To do things we can't. Fred, Ryan, and Channing, firefighters are off. Why would you run into a burning building?
When everybody else is running away.
They're off. So Channing, I was aware I was off. All the other roles I played up to that point allowed my off to be qualified. This asks for my off.
First off, I don't know why it clicked with that firefighter one, right? When he said the firefighter one, it's like, yo, they're off. Who would want to run into a burning building? 'Cause I know I wouldn't. I would not. Right. You would not see me like, yo, I wake up every day wishing that I could just go save somebody from this flames that could burn my own skin, my face. Something. I just feel like that is my call. Absolutely not. So, of course, we respect those people who do things that is like, oh, no, we're not doing that, right? But that means there's something, I wouldn't say off, but there's something unique about firefighters, about these people that do, shout out to the people who like fly out of airplanes for fighting purposes, not just for skydiving. No offense, skydivers. But I mean, literally to like protect our nation, they fly out of planes and think that there's some got to be a little off with them. So if for that, I think everybody has something off with them. There's something, right? And we may be in certain things that just like he said, qualifies us in that particular situation, but doesn't really ignite or allow you to be the person you really need to be or who you really are. If he's saying, yo, I'm off, like I'm aware of that. There's certain things people don't understand, wouldn't ever do, wouldn't even tap into. But this particular role allowed me to be me, and this is why it is as successful as it is and why people can't even figure out my real name. Like, people will forever call him Ghost, But he tapped into something that the other role, I don't even, like, I remember seeing him in other places, but of course.
Can't even remember the title. Yeah.
Right. He killed it on Ghost. He killed it on Power. So it makes me look at it like, yo, am I in a situation where it doesn't allow me to be off? Like, it allows me to be safe. It allows me to be qualified. I'm qualified for everything I do. But does it allow me to be off, which will get me to new levels? That's how I'm thinking with, maybe I'm playing it. I'm not even blaming nobody else. Maybe I'm playing it safe. Maybe there's something that I'm like, okay, this is what everybody views it as. And it's great. Everybody applauds and things like that. But for this whole time that I'm right there, I'm finding little signs. And this is why, podcast world, you're on my journey of figuring out this thing, right? So every single time in the beginning is this triggering thing of, oh, we're closer to this thing, right? So now I'm like, okay, I know I have to be in a situation that allows me to be off.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I mean, it's funny, shout out to the one and only Bayesian Sensation, as some of you may know him, but I was talking with Carl.
Shout out to Carl.
Just yesterday, I think. And I was just like, to your point about playing it safe, I was like, man, when's the last time we've done something that we knew we couldn't accomplish? Like just the simple fact of pursuing something that we know we couldn't accomplish, at least in the beginning. I think there are different parts of us that show up when we're trying to go after something that we had no idea if whether or not we can accomplish. There's so much of you that needs to figure things out, whether you're figuring parts of yourself out, parts of the challenge out, but it just brings new parts of you to life. Now, I think what's interesting about, what the clip is saying here is that this is someone who's kind of embraced this concept of, hey, I'm going to obsessively go after something. But more importantly, though, the reason why something like this matters is that the only time you'll appear off is by somebody else's standards. It's never by your own standards.
Thanks.
It's only when we're looking to be accepted or appreciated or welcomed into the worlds of everyone else, or fit into this definition or box that they may have for us of what we're supposed to be, do we appear off. But in our worlds, if we're pursuing something we've never done before, especially one that we don't know that we can even accomplish, you're not off. You're trying to reinvent and build parts of you that you don't know exist or what can come about from it, right? So it's not off, you're actually on. You're on. It's those around you who might be off because they're not living in your world. So I'm really of this idea now that just let each person be themselves. And we as a society should stop taking things so personal. And when I say personal, I don't mean taking personal as far as responding in an emotional way.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever defined it or ever thought about what it means to take something personally. For some reason, I always thought that when someone says don't take things so personal, it means don't be so emotional. I don't know why. I could be right, could be wrong. I don't even know, but that's just how my weird brain always processed it. But as I thought about it a little bit more, I'm like, stop making it about you. That's probably what personal means. Yeah. Like, stop making every little thing about you and you're the center. It's like, stop doing that.
Yeah, the world doesn't revolve around you.
Exactly.
That's how I always say it. I'm like, the world doesn't revolve around you. We're not
talking English. Yeah, believe it or not, English is my second language. So maybe that's why I had it backwards. But I kid you not, this whole time I always thought for some reason that it referred to someone taking something too personal, like you're taking it to an emotional sense. But no, don't make everything about you is kind of a better response so that you're not so in tune with like, well, why is that person not like me?
Right.
No, let them be. Let them be off. Let them be crazy. If you can't encourage them, then leave. I'm all for the off. I'm all for the off energy. I'm all for the off energy.
And it goes back to like, where are these standards coming from?
Yeah.
Like, just because you don't see it that way doesn't mean that everybody has to think the same. And like, it always stems from like another source. Like, you think this way because of something else, because what you watch, what you heard, how you grew up. Yet there's nothing that really says this is all the way right or wrong, you know? Yes, of course, we have certain laws and things like that. That's another situation that could even be super debatable, because some of these laws were written and they're out of date, you know, written by certain people, and it's just out of date. But it goes to, we still have like our own little world, right? And we allow people inside of our world. We don't have to take our world and be like, here, you like it? No, we are the rulers of our own world, and we have to create the best scenarios and bring in people who celebrate us, you know? And so this clip just really made me think like, yo, just stay in that world that you feel crazy in, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
take all the steps you need to, and not question if this is right or wrong sometimes. You know, like, because if it's about going more with your gut, because normally 9 out of 10 times your gut is right. You know, your gut is right. Now, to how it perceives to everybody else, that's a different story. Yo, I would never do that. Oh my God, why would? Yeah, you would never do
That's
that.
right.
You won't.
That's right.
That's cool. I'm not you. I'm not even made up the same way you are. So that's just me. I like this clip. I like this clip.
Yeah. Last thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was just gonna say real quick, and just as a challenge to the listeners, embrace and encourage somebody else's craziness too. Just that. That's it. Just, you know, like, just as we want it for ourselves, go ahead and embrace and encourage, because you're gonna realize that it's gonna bring parts of you out that you probably didn't realize you were so picky about. It's like, oh, you know, eliminate double standards and all that stuff. So yeah, encourage and appreciate other people's craziness throughout that process.
That's a fact. And talking about crazy, we have Fat Joe. You know what I mean? No, shout out to Fat Joe. He is such an amazing, I would say, personality. I'm not even going to say character. I mean, he's just
really cool.
Amazing. But
really cool.
There was something that made me raise an eyebrow, that he spoke about Diddy, right? Love, P. Diddy, whatever name he is at this moment.
Puff.
Yes. Right. Okay. Sean Combs, whatever. We all know who he is, right? But I'll just let you hear the clip. I'm not even going to set it up. I'm going to let you hear the clip and we'll get into it.
Puff Daddy is the king of deception. Yeah. Every time we was in the party, he was throwing his champagne, his vodka in every picture. He was so we didn't know. We like, yo, he's a great guy. This is a great party. This is a great, yo, give me your clothes. I'ma rock it in the video, yo. Sean John sold 400 million. Champagne, this. Boy, the joke's on us. Yeah. He been doing this for real. Yeah. And we can't be mad at him. We always gotta use them as inspiration.
Yeah, my favorite part of listening to that clip is it shows you how intentional P. Diddy was throughout his entire career.
Facts.
And a lot of times we think that when someone is just ebbing and flowing, they're just being free and they're enjoying their life, or they're being present, and which I'm sure all of those things are true, but it's all of those are being done with an intention and with a specific goal in mind. So while a lot of people were just at the party to enjoy themselves, here is P. Diddy being mindful of what is product placement. The brilliant marketer that he is, he's like, oh yeah, definitely come. I'll pay for the party because it'll probably cost me less than having to pay each one of you to maybe market or promote my product if I had to do it on an official business or individual kind of approach, right? And I'm not saying that was his exact approach, but when you think about it, it's like, wow, what a brilliant idea. Why shouldn't I throw a gathering together, give myself an opportunity to build a relationship with people, and while I'm at it, use that as an opportunity to go ahead and push my product or my business and my brand a little bit further, right? I'm sure he did it with pure intentions, because people won't be, say, in love with who he was if there wasn't just a natural, organic relationship to it. Right. But I think, in short, it just shows you the power of intention. When someone is clear and very intentional about everything that they do, they don't waste an opportunity to push themselves and their brands forward. And that's kind of what I see there.
Yeah, and I see it more on the Fat Joe side of, we have to realize that though we may be cool with certain people, or we may really like a brand, when we are publicizing it or showing it way more, and we have some type of influence, we have to understand that though it may be pure, maybe, at the end of the day, from a monetizing standpoint, the other person's always winning, unless we are being intentional with, okay, I'll do this one time. You know what I mean? Like, I do it because I love it, whatever. Yeah. But if I'm going to these parties and there's hundreds of photographers and pictures being taken, and now I'm taking the clothes and I'm doing my videos with it, and I'm giving you content that if anybody else was to ask, I would charge. And sometimes we just get so happy-go-lucky that it's like, yo, like you said, great guy, come on, no problem. I love what you're doing. We want to support, and there's nothing wrong with supporting. But when we have influence, we have to understand that, as he says, the joke's on us when they're making millions and we just have free merch. We get a gift card, or, we get
an invitation.
Right. Now we're at the table. You feel me?
Right.
And so we have to be, I guess the word is going to be intentional for today. All right. I see what we're doing here. We have to be intentional with everything that we do as a product situation. Everything from the clothes we wear, from the things we're drinking. This is why some people, depending on what content you see, I'm just too lazy to do it, will take the wrapper off the bottle.
The water bottle.
Yeah. Take it off. They'll use their own stuff or a clear situation because they're not trying to pub somebody, even though they may drink it all the time, right? Even though I may use this all the time. I'm even in a situation where I use something all the time, and they gave it to me because, they just was looking out, and I'm realizing, even though I use it and it's made me such an amazing human being now, right? One of the reasons, not all. But I'm pubbing it to a point where people are like, I just got mine. I just got mines too. I just got mines too. And I'm like,
Hold up.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
because we have to understand our influence. When people see us, and not just speaking about us, you know, I feel like everybody is an influencer. If you have some type of following, it don't matter how big or small, you have an influence. But once somebody trusts us with a follow and their attention, and they continuously see us with something, just like how Fat Joe said, I'm continuously wearing his stuff, having his bottles, going to the music video, and continuously see my favorite influencer wear this, do this, I'm going to want to support it, or I'm going to want to wear it because it gives me the same vibes as them.
Yeah.
So if you're saying, yo, this helped you, I want this to help me too. We have to have some type of compensation with that. Maybe at least from a mutual standpoint. We're going to get that in the next clip, but there has to be some type of mutual relationship, not just a good feeling, not just like, okay, I look like part of the in crowd. Now, though, some people do rock with status, right? I'm more of, if they are making thousands and millions of dollars, and I'm one of the people that talk about it all the time. Yeah, we got to tap more into this influence lifestyle, and not just because we see other people do it and they could charge whatever, but we're not this type. No, we are to somebody, and that's okay.
Yeah. No, that's real. That's real.
But in that same token of understanding your influence, we do know somebody who understands their influence. And let's give a huge congratulations to LeBron James, because now he is a billionaire. All right? A whole billionaire, right? And of course, we have to break down how, Sway. I wish I had that sound. Didn't have it queued up, but we have to break down how, and it goes along with what we just talked about. So let's hear about it.
Real key to James's billion-dollar fortune. He's been more than just a pitchman. James has long structured deals to give him equity in brands he partners with, giving him a cut of the upside instead of a quick paycheck. In 2015, James walked away from an endorsement agreement with McDonald's, worth an estimated $15 million over 4 years, to instead gamble on the fast-growing Blaze Pizza chain, where he's an investor.
Okay. All right. I got it. So bump your check. I want equity. You feel me?
Yeah.
No, that's a long game term. That's definitely a long game term where we are looking at it from, and that's hard too, because you heard the amount like McDonald's was giving. Like that's not, it's not a small check. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's not little. And some people will stay on that, you know, but he is like, I can. And majority of athletes do stay on the endorsement deals because those checks are good. Those checks are probably way more than sometimes what they make on the court, on the field. Their endorsement checks really is what make them on millionaire status, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, no. Probably one of those things of like, I can't pass down an endorsement.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Which is smart. But also, as this company grows, well, my money grows as well, to where we look at these endorsement deals, though not small endorsement deals, it flatlines. This is what you are going to get based off your contract. this is what you're going to get, and this is what you agreed to. Same thing with when we're talking about the whole influence. Like, if you agreed to something, cool, flatline sometimes. But when it's done, it's done. And they made thousands and millions of dollars, and you're out here with a flatline check. And you may feel good about it because that may be your first situation of it. But it's like, oh no, the people who are doing it right are playing it the long game. And for the long game, now we're creating more millionaires. Now we're creating more billionaires, because I believe it's only him and Jordan, right? That's from a basketball, I don't want to say all sports, but because I can't intelligently say that, but from a basketball standpoint, is billionaires. But Jordan didn't get that status until he was off the court.
Yeah. I think they said Kobe is even one of those people who accomplished the billionaire status, although it's not talked about, but he too accomplished it, like you said, after his career. So he's the only active player to reach that benchmark while still being on an NBA professional team, which is crazy to me. Like, the fact that he did that is incredible. Of course, we did a breakdown on LeBron, so y'all make sure to go back after this and watch that too. There were some pretty cool things that we highlighted on his story, but the one thing that I remembered is that he has a pattern of doing that, and from a very young age. If you remember when Adidas slid that check across the table to him just so that he can sign on the spot and not go see Nike, he rejected it, which is incredible because you're talking about 17, 18 years old, similar situation, seeing a $10 million check or whatever it is on the table for you to take it right now but not go see Nike, and you muscle up the courage, the discipline, whatever you want to call it at that point, which is awesome, and say, nope, I'm going to pass. I think my value could be higher elsewhere. Right. And that's the mentality. The second part that I think some of us don't really think about or don't talk about often is, and it's something that I say I always suffer from, which is pride, but I look at it as a good way. It's that you want to be paid what you're worth, but from the standpoint of, I also don't want to take what's not mine. So if we go into an agreement and you're paying me a flat line dollar amount, I make that amount whether you profit off of my contribution or you don't.
Right.
Now, sure, that could be like, yeah, I'm happy. I don't care. I don't want no responsibilities with what's going on there. But another way to think about it is if you really want to get your fair share, but you want to operate with integrity in business and make sure that the other party gets the same thing, then you don't want to be a burden on their books. So that, just for those of you thinking about, well, oh yeah, no, ownership. No, honestly, this is the better way to do business because it is beneficial and mutual for both parties.
Right.
So if we enter that type of agreement, the more money we make, the more money I make. Or the more money we make, the more money we make.
Yeah.
If that's probably a better way to say it. But it's not only one person is going to make money and the other person might lose or not benefit as much or to the same extent. So I like these equity deals because they allow people to profit equally. So that's another way for us to also think about it. It's not the fact of, oh, he's so smart, he negotiated ownership. There's also a level of integrity that comes with it, which is, no, we all get our fair share because as I contribute, I get my fair share, and so do you as the owner of the company or the brand.
Thanks. I don't know how that cracked. My whole voice cracked, but that was all good.
I was gonna say nothing. I was gonna let it go.
I was gonna say it. I make fun of myself. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But going with value and worth. Shout out to 19 Keys and the master investor Ian, because they had an amazing conversation the other day. It was a 2-part situation, right?
Yeah.
But Moose sent me this clip, and I was like, ooh, and the difference between your worth and your service price is the topic. And let's just talk about it.
Somebody asked me to do a consultation with them. It's like, bro, like, unfortunately, when it comes to us, a lot of people that look like me can't afford me if I'm giving them my true value.
Yeah.
So it's like, when it comes to working with our people, we always have to discount our value. And what that does is it creates a disconnect between what our true value is, right? And what our serving value is. Because the value that we discount ourselves to serve is different than the actual value that we have. I'd rather say completely no, or I'm gonna find a way to leverage that to where I feel like I'm getting the value and you are too.
That made me stop in my tracks. Again, you know, we've been talking about the main theme for this one is intentionality, but I've never heard of anyone talk about their true value and their serving value. He even goes on to talk about the leveraging value. If you really pay close attention. So he's very clear on the lines that cut out between true value, service value, leverage value. And I don't know that many of us as creative entrepreneurs trying to build brands and businesses in this digital era are as intentional or as clear about what those things are for us. So just because, there is a societal pressure to give back to people who look like us to make sure that no one comes up and says, yo, you think you're big time, or you don't even give back to the community, you're just taking from them because of how much you charge. So there's a pressure that comes about, and you're like, man, all right, fine, let me slash my prices. Like, I don't want people to think that I'm out to get them. But then when other opportunities are presented to you that are willing to pay your true worth, you probably quote them the wrong price because you're treating everyone the same. Or you're not, better yet, because I don't want to say we should switch prices based on who we're dealing with, but you're just not mindful of, oh, I discounted my price because I'm dealing with a specific almost community that I want to serve, I want to bless, I want to work with them differently. But let me not take that approach to deal with people in business who are working off of value for value or true value for true value. So I just loved how intentional he was about defining the different types of it, and is almost accepting of the fact that, hey, some people who I want to help, I'm at a level where they can't even afford what I have, but I'm also still putting enough free things out there so that if you really wanted to, you can learn quite a bit before you even have to make that large sum investment.
I just want to appreciate 19 Keys for these high level conversations. The podcast name literally speaks on what he puts out. So shout out to 19 Keys on that one. But of course, this one hits home, right? Because I feel that because we discount services, like our price for services, whether it is to try to be one up on the competition, or either because we don't feel like they could afford it, like it makes you really question your worth, and it creates frustration, because when you do have your conversations of like, oh, I'm worth so much more, right? And you get frustrated with yourself because what you're charging and what you're worth never really adds up, right? And then you do up your price, and then you're still not there with it, right? Because I think in that conversation, like literally a little bit before then, he was like, yeah, I'm worth a billy. Right? Yep. You can't make somebody, like, you can, right? But who can afford a billy is slim to none now, right? Is low compared to, well, if I did at this price, I could get more of a scale. And sometimes even from when we're thinking about some marketing points, they do tell you to, like, half your price of what it's honestly worth for scalability, for more people to get it, right? So you're discounting something that you probably spend, I don't know, countless of hours on. It's probably worth well over thousands of dollars based off the information you're doing, based off the work you're doing, the labor, all that. And you have to sell it for $20. You have to sell it for $100, $500. And it's like, even those marketing schemes will make you question your value. Mm-hmm. And I love what he said about the leveraging, right? I love it's like, I say no to a lot of things, but if I could leverage it, I'll do it. I'll say no, or I have to understand there's some type of leverage that both of us can, it's a mutual situation now. Now it's deeper than money, because what you wanted to pay me is definitely not my worth. But I see true value in us working together, where I can service you, you can service me, but there's a greater cause to it. There's something of a deeper meaning, or it gets me to rooms or levels that I wasn't necessarily on, and that alone can equal up to the value of what I am in general. So that is a different type of game, which some people know what to do with, some people don't, because it's a survival mode for some. It's more on, I got bills to pay. Like, I got to get this. I got to stand with this status. I got to do this. I got to do that. And once again, those leverage things, those equity moves, these are long game situations. This is not a short, like, everything that we're going over is something that is worth way more down the line. And if we can wrap our heads with, okay, if I'm in the service-based situation, this is why I don't want to be in service-based. This is why I don't. Because it's like, I got frustrated. First off, actually, servicing you in a particular way doesn't make sense to me because of how much you want to pay for it. Now, even when we create elite pricing, it's still like, it's not worth it compared to me stopping from it stops me from my creativity.
Yeah.
Right. And then so I'm like, I can't stop my creativity anymore. It could possibly be different later, right? It could be something that, once I've reached a certain level, boom, I could go back and here we go, right? But I think, and I'm speaking for me, the teaching part has given me a sense of service that I do, and the mutualism is impact. It's not money, anything like that. It's impact. To get DMs that's like, yo, I listened to your live and I did something you said, and the chick started crying. I'm not going to say her name. Started crying like, yo, a stranger said I needed that. Like, off of my post, a stranger said they needed what I said, and what you've done all your life, all the programs, like, it changed my life. That is mutualism. That right there is like, okay, I will teach all day, every day, put out these programs all day, every day, in order to change somebody's life like that, to make them feel that they can do something now and that their words are powerful. That's mutual for me, right?
Yeah, that's good.
And I can't put, for me to really do that, I can't put a dollar amount to it, but the people that execute on it, and change their brands, change their content, that's the mutualism. So you have to understand that how am I leveraging maybe this low cost situation? Because it's not going to be never, but it's going to be rare for somebody who identifies what they're really worth and somebody pay that in some way, shape, or form. But they can pour into you somehow, some way for that same amount. Mm-hmm. And that we have to look at it from a mature way of, okay, this makes sense and this is worth it. Instead of trying to get every single dollar and be like, nah, I'm worth team amount. You got to pay me this. Okay, that's cute.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I've kind of, well, not kind of. My philosophy around it now is that there are multiple ways to collect currency, mm-hmm. and cash is not the only one. All right, like mm-hmm. some believe, like, hey, my currency is gonna be, say, deposits in heaven. I don't know, like I believe that. Like for real, that's kind of my mentality with it. Like, yo, I'll take that deposit. The currency is different. It's just not cash. Matter of fact, I want that one more than the cash right now. Right. You know, so it's also just a reminder of like, whatever your currency is and you're good with it, cool. But just be intentional about where you draw the line, because that is where some of these Diddy situations might come and happen to you. And you're like, wait a minute. Yep. How was I getting paid $10, but you just made $10 million? Okay, using my stuff. Right. Okay, I'm confused. Right. Time out. Let me process this a little bit differently. So just whatever your currency is, whatever your currency of choice, no problem, own it. But the lesson here is know where you draw the line so that you don't regret something further down your journey because you were playing small ball and someone was balling out in the league. It's like, oh, two different levels, and you missed the point because of it.
Facts. So this last clip found very interesting. Once again, shout out to EYL. We're going to say it every week. Seriously. Every week. Say it every week, right?
They're good. They would have got like 3 in a row now, 3 weekly features or something like that.
No, this is a fact, right? But like I keep saying, they have amazing interviews, especially with this Assets Over Liabilities series on Revolt, right? They interviewed Dame Dash again, right? This is the second time. Way better look of things because they're in the studio and everything. But he says something interesting about dreams and a funeral. So let's talk about it.
So my dreams evolve. It's like a club. Once I've been in Club Dream and it dies, which means it's a funeral because it became a reality, which is the best funeral, is when your dream dies because it really happened. Then I gotta go think about something bigger to do. Pause. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll get bored. I'm just never complacent, and there's always something to fight for.
That to me was like a life analogy. You know, it's like for some of us who get a high off of pursuing a dream, the achievement of a dream can sometimes feel, and I've said it before, not as satisfying as you accepted or expected. And it's weird. It's like, what's happening? Well, yeah, I guess funerals are meant to be a little bit sad. So it's okay, but it's a good kind of sad. You accomplish something. So it's like the passing of one stage of this was something that I just had in my mind at one point. It was an idea. It was a thought. And now it's entered a new phase. It's like your baby went from just crawling everywhere to now moving out the house. Like they went to college. It's a different era. It's a different phase. There's a sadness that comes to it, but there's a graduation that's also happening at the same time. So I just never thought of it that way. I know I spoke to the experience of feeling that achievement but loss simultaneously, but him putting it that way of it's a funeral to the dream because you accomplished it was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. I love how that was put.
Yeah, I never thought about, a dream dying. Like you just think about it being accomplished, right? But I do agree that some people can stay complacent and like just stay there like, yo, I accomplished my dreams. Okay. Do you have more? Like it's a wrap. Like it's done. So why are we still talking about it? Like kill it. Like it's done. So but it's rare because, we could stay in the celebration mode a little bit much. And I think that goes to why I don't necessarily like labeling things as goals either. Right? Like, because not saying I don't have goals, I just don't label them that. Because I feel like once you accomplish them, then what? Then you're like done. You could say, yo, I'm gonna get this amount of money. Okay. You did. You're good, right? Yeah, that's all I dreamt of. That's all I wanted. That's my goal. Okay, there's more. You limit yourself. So if you don't kill the dream, if you don't bury it, right? There's nothing that will grow from it. There's not any more dreams that will be born because you're still living with something that is already done. So it's like, how many dreams do we have to bury now? Now that we understand that, it's like, how many? Because maybe this is why we aren't to the next level, because we're so stuck on the ones that we've been doing. Like, okay, got the house, check, cool. You don't want a big one? Got the car, paid off, cool. You don't want another car? You don't think you can get 2 cars? You think you just a 1-car person? Right? Now, granted, the significant other, I don't think you need to go more than that.
Right.
I don't think
2 cars
you need,
apiece.
Right. Well, there's some people, I don't judge. So however you go about your life, you go about your life, right? But are certain things you say, this is on my goal, this is on my vision board, this is here, cool. Now what? Bury it so other things can be born. And I just never thought about dreams like that. I just always was like, dreams are so dope, right? Like, but how he puts it, my question to the listeners and the viewers is, what dream do you have to bury this week? Okay, what dreams do you have to bury? What's some old dreams that you're just still holding on to, that you're like, I accomplished this that was all I wanted in life. Oh, like you did it. So my audio listeners, our viewers, just let us know on our social media, whether Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, however you want it. Let us know what dreams or dream are you burying. You feel me? And of course, once again, shout out to E-Camm, because the air horns and the clips and all that great stuff is all because of E-Camm Live. Okay, so if you want to try out E-Camm Live for 14 days for free, nickyandmoose.com/E-Camm, ECAMM, 2 M's. Okay, so www. I hate saying the W's. W's. 3 W's. nickyandmoose.com/E-Camm. But Moose, final words.
Yeah, I came across something this week, and I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit just so it can fit the context of how I want to deliver it. But it pretty much went along the lines of, a man with experience can learn nothing from a man with an opinion. A man with experience can learn nothing from a man with an opinion. So for those of us who are often almost pulled off track from what we're after because of what people are saying about what we're doing, as long as you're gaining experience, you have nothing to worry about because that person with opinion can teach you nothing.